10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Drag racing fan, Competition Plus is live. This is the Competition Plus Power Hour. Make sure you hit that like button, share this show as well. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button for all the good drag racing content that Competition Plus provides, from the legends of the sport to those classic drag races to the people out there on the strip today, and even more. Tonight, what are we going to do? We're going to look back at the drag racing season for 2022, though there's still a little bit that remains. Most of it is in the books, and we're going to talk about that along with you right after the break. Weldon Pumps, Weldon High Performance, they provide the pump for the Competition Plus Power Hour. We want to say thank you to them. Right after this break, Bobby Bennett, Elon Warner, also hopefully Sam Smith, my co-host, Slammin' Sam, live with you to talk about what? Drag racing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know Slammin' Sam, Bobby Bennett. You should also know Elon Warner, legendary PR individual in the world of drag racing and beyond, like literally legendary. He's got the awards to prove it. Good to have each and everyone on tonight. Drag racing, what a stellar year in 2022. Bobby Bennett, I'm going to begin with you. What was the best moment for drag racing outside of the NHRA?
Outside of the NHRA for drag racing. Oh my goodness. Whoa, wow. I have to say the emergence of Justin Ashley, a kid that just a couple of years ago was the Rookie of the Year, that just absolutely delivered above and beyond what anybody expected. And, just the kid just keeps getting better and better. And I have to say that if he had the race car to go along with his performances this weekend, we'd have him as a world champion.
I agree with you. I definitely think that his emergence, I said it on Darren Williams Jr. show on his platform, American Hot Rod Entertainment, who's the Competition Plus assistant editor. We talked about that, and I stated emphatically that Justin Ashley will be a champion in the sport of NHRA Top Fuel drag racing before long, maybe even next year.
I think, can I jump in? I would say the interest from NASCAR and hopefully with Maurice DuPont bringing Floyd Mayweather in the sport of drag racing, making that leap out of traditional sponsors, traditional team owners, people coming up, and that I think that will hopefully grow the sport and get more eyeballs on us. And I think just the success that Tony Stewart Racing's teams had this year, Tony's personal success, Rick Ware coming in with Clay Millican, and then seeing Maurice DuPont out at the Auto Club finals with the potential to have Floyd Mayweather, and just that universe is what NASCAR's had it with NFL players coming in, Pitbull at Formula One. Drag racing now, I think, is on the cusp of becoming the next biggest thing, and not just for NHRA. I think you're seeing, Street Outlaws still has passion, no prep. All these other forms of racing are finding their groove to just get more eyeballs on a sport that is just, to me, right for the world we live in now of instant gratification, of, social media, of personality driven events that I think people will see more alignment with influencers. Companies like Peak have been doing it for a long time, but you're going to now hopefully see teams, drivers creating these alliances that are mutually beneficial to bring their brand from the drag strip to concerts, to rodeos, to all kinds of shows. And that's to me is we're starting to see that vibe kick off this year with really some real horsepower.
Elon, with you mentioning that, I just retweeted on Twitter, obviously, from the Charlotte Hornets. They just put up a little video from two of their basketball players being at the last race that Charlotte hosted this year. And, Alexis Joria is doing a burnout, and they're like, oh, what's going on? Never experienced it, just thinking it's wild. So that is happening now for the NHRA and for drag racing as a whole. That is good to see.
Yeah, I believe, Lee, those two guys were there with Antron Brown for a while. They were in those pits talking and hanging out with them. Somehow, some connection there. Antron did know those. But I think, to your question, outside of the NHRA, Lee, I would honestly just say, to piggyback off of the NASCAR thing, we're leading in with NASCAR. But I would say the look and the audience that drag racing got from the circle track industry, the NASCAR industry, and just, guys and girls that weren't in tune with drag racing because of your Travis Pastranas, because of Tony Stewart, getting behind the wheel of a car. I mean, the guy's driven everything. And like many people ask him, why do you want to go in a straight line? And now you have someone of his, persona, or you have someone like Travis Pastrana, or you have, in Denver, you had guys from, Farm One, the weightlifting community. You're having all these, like you said, influencers come in. I forget the young lady that was also there who's, she's known all over TikTok and YouTube of doing, backflips with jets going down the runways and different things like that. So when we look at it, like what we've, accomplished as media, as PR people, is we finally have said, what, all these other sports are doing it, we can also do it. And, people like Elon getting people to the track, Bobby writing the stories, you, Lee, going to Funny Car Chaos, and the funny videos we do on YouTube. That's the stuff that's gotten to people's eyes. And I think as a whole, for drag racing, for NHRA, No Prep Kings, Southeast Gassers, and all as association of just racers in the community, I think we've done our homework and our due diligence to finally get that aspect down. And I think if we continue in that direction, we're going to keep doing it. And I think the sky's the limit right now.
Lee, can I have a do-over?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
No, you can't redo it.
Listen to the question. Obviously didn't listen to the question.
You're good.
I think my point might be twofold. I would like to recognize the efforts of Toyota for moving forward with the incredible commercial. I tell you what, I have never wanted to rewind a commercial back and watch them half as much to see Antron Brown wearing the feather hat.
Right.
And everything. And it was absolutely expertly delivered. The folks who did those for Toyota, incredible. And now the second part of that would be the emergence of IHRA with new owners, as well as the other competing sanctioning bodies looking to be that third and fourth sanctioning body to bring us back to where we were in the old days, when you guys were like, I don't know, -3, -7, and like 8 years old, when we had the IHRA, AHRA, and NHRA. So I think those would be some things to watch here. I think between the two two groups. That's going to be an interesting scenario to watch play out.
I agree with you, Bobby. And if my most surprising outside of the NHRA answer would be very much so the sanctioning bodies. Was not expecting a sale of the IHRA. That was not on the radar for me and people I talked to until right in the middle of the year, right when it happened. And then after that, and talking to people such as Carl, who's at MoCan, and others, and Gerald Kramer, and many other track owners not being happy about how that goes down. WDRA comes up, and whatever else may come up now. I think that is the most surprising element for drag racing outside of the NHRA. And I think there's a lot of positivity around that. Honestly, what many of these groups are striving and aiming for. I just hope between all the bodies, there's not a sense of, oh, we're at war amongst one another. Work together and move drag racing forward. And I hope that's what comes of it. And I think right now that's where it's going. And I hope we see that come to be true for every spectator and competitor. Well, guys, there's a lot of drag. Go ahead.
Let's face it, the IHRA probably has the largest uphill battle because that sanctioning body is like the drag racing equivalent of Pet Cemetery. Okay? They've taken that series up on the hill and buried it so many times, and it's never come back like it was supposed to. So for them, their greatest task might be to make that cat come down off of Pet Cemetery. For those who watch the movie Pet Cemetery, if something dies, you go bury it up on the mountain, and then it never comes back the same way it was. So that might be what we need to watch for from the IHRA.
I like that. And, Larry Jeffers purchases it. You've got some key people involved right now. Just today, Going Bracket Racing had two of the people that are help pushing the IHRA forward on their show. So there are some answers coming out on what they intend to do. And again, I think it's a good thing for drag racing, and I hope all these places find their homes and it works out and it overall is good.
The key element in that whole deal is, you remember when the group of the IHRA people were talking about going off and starting their own deal, and then the letter was sent out about these tracks that were under IHRA contract, how there was the insinuation that there would be legal action. You remember what I'm talking about? Well, a lot of those tracks ended up with the WDRA. So it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic plays. If we are actually singing Kumbaya or give me back my damn track.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. Before we move on, because I definitely want to get your thoughts on the performance side outside of the NHRA. Drag Racing Central mentions the amount of drivers coming into No Prep Kings as something as surprising. What do you think the allure is with No Prep Kings, NPK, for drivers and even the fan base?
I think it's just probably almost a throwback feel that, back when guys were match racing all around the country, they were basically bring your car out, you'd work on your car, and you'd haul it up there and you'd race it. There wasn't a lot of dragging the track, prepping the track. Are they using, VHT? Are they using, whatever the other compounds are? All these things that it was just like, hey, we're going to go up there and we're going to have to run the track and pedal our cars, smoke the tire, all that. I think that's the biggest thing that I look at from the outside is it's a little bit of a throwback, and I think it kind of evens the playing field a little bit because you could throw a lot of money into your car to create a lot of horsepower, but that may just be too much horsepower for the track. So you've got to manage that. So a guy that just has a, car that's just a good race car and he's good on the tree, he can go and really do some exciting things in No Prep and not have to worry about overthinking it too much.
Yeah, it's that's 100% agreeable there. But I think also too, it's it's the allure of the money, and it's the allure of the whole, hey, I have a possibility. If I make it, someone's gonna see it. And we are in this whole mindset as people, as racers, as a community, as a whole, is if someone sees it, especially if I'm on TV, one, people are going to be like, oh, he's a big shot, or, oh, that's when people are going to start talking about you. And then two, it's for the sponsorship deal of it. These guys and, girls that go out there, hey, if they are seen on television, hey, now they can put that into their sponsorship package. I'm not just some grudge racer that's going to some small town track or some small town street race somewhere. I'm actually on TV. You can see my car. So, now, hey, Redline, or hey, VP, or whatever, whoever it may be, help me out, because I'm not just some regular racer. I'm on TV. So, there's a lot of allure there. And then, like you said, as a grudge racer myself, you kind of fall into that whole mindset of, you want to go out and race the Ryan Martins, the Chuck Sightsingers, the just the names. It's just like, if I had $1 million right now and I could go and get into a top fuel car, heck yeah, would I want to line up against Justin? Yeah, I might throw a banana in his lane, so a little Mario trick or something there, so his tires squill right off the line, so I have an advantage. But do I know he's gonna leave on me? Yeah, but who wouldn't want to race against him if you had the chance to do it?
How do two of the most intelligent and handsome fellas in this industry miss the most obvious? How do you guys miss the most obvious? It's the fame. It's the merch. It has nothing to do with the money. The TV makes them celebrities. So they go out somewhere, they sign autographs. Drag racing has always been about ego. It's always been about the ego. And look, hey, can I get a selfie with this guy? Hey, they look at, hey, let me get a selfie with Justin Swanstrom. Oh, look, there's Bobby Bennett. Who's that? You know what I mean? It's like, that's the lure. It'd be the lure for me to be famous, to go out there and all that. But, I think this thing has an incredibly longer shelf life than, let's say, Lizard Lick Towing. Remember that show? Lizard Lick Towing, Bobby and everybody, I saw him at our Piedmont Interstate Fair. Go have your picture taken with the members of the Lizard Lick crew. You know what I mean? So, that's what I'm saying. I think it's the fame, the 15 minutes of fame, although I think they might get about 45 minutes of fame. That's what I got, guys.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's probably one of the quickest ways in which you can gain motorsports fame that we have right now. If you get through Invitational and you get on the show, you're on Discovery Channel, and one of the biggest platforms that there is, that is arguably bigger than, certainly it is bigger than FS1. It is bigger than ESPN, depending on the time slot and things of that nature. So yeah, you're going to get that shot of fame. Do y'all think that it is sustainable? Andrew Osterhaus says, do you think NPK will eventually run its course? I have said this often, that it being a TV show, what happens when they cancel the season?
Yeah.
If you look right now, and I don't mean to cut you off, but if any episode or anything that you look at that they're doing, like Ryan Martin says it over and over, we're scheduling back to back to back. They know what they're doing for the next, I think it's year to 2 years right now. Between the TV show and the new add-on of the World Series thing that I forget what they're doing, like the world, champion where they're racing all over. And then just the points deal, they're booked out for 2-3 years. So, I mean, if they're doing episodes, let's just say they're doing 16 episodes, and then they go and do something else, and then they schedule another. I mean, in a year's worth of work, you can probably schedule 2 seasons, right, of that TV show. So do I see it falling off? You could say that, but what you said at the beginning, there's so many people joining it. There's so much excitement that, yeah, you may not see your originals, your OGs. Ryan Martin may not be there. Kai Kelly may not be there in 4 or 5 years, but you're going to have, a younger guy that's stepping up. There's some of the guys in the, Justin Swantrum in 5 years may be the Ryan Martin of today. You know what I mean? So I just think the momentum that's going into that, so many people, so many guys are building no prep cars. I mean, I've got one that I was working on for 5 years that's sitting in my garage right now. Will it ever be as fast as those guys? Probably not. But then again, I don't have $1 million to put into a car.
Of course, if Elon Werner was the PR guy of our great country, we would be the greatest country in the history of all time. Rome, everything. So there you go.
I think you're talking about the No Prep Kings and the biggest takeaway from that, and thank you very much, Mike Ashley, for giving me a shout out there. And I would agree it's time to make America great again on a variety of fronts. We can take what we're doing with drag racing and what No Prep Kings does, and you're starting to see those satellite program, like the spinoff deals. And that's where you're seeing, sports growing and building those stars. And it's going to be an exciting time, again, going back to how the sport, as we kind of transition kind of more to an NHRA focus, since that's where I spend 99% of my time, is the influx of young talent and new talent and even returning old talent is going to make our sport, I think, really interesting and force the sanctioning body to maybe make some tough choices short term to grow the sport long term. And we can get into that down the road with some hot takes about how the playoffs played out, how the regular season versus playoffs, and then as great as this season was for Top Fuel, I think next year could be even more insane.
Rivalry talk here, I see.
All right. Before we move away from outside of the NHRA, because we're going to take the time in a few moments and talk in particular the finals and then NHRA overall, top performer outside of the NHRA. A lot of folks that we could choose and pick from. We're talking PDRA, NMRA, so on and so on. I'm going to throw out this guy, Southeast Gassers Association, Tim Hall in the Scalded Dog. Reset the record many times in his category in Southeast Gassers Association, like 5-6 wins. Didn't even need to show up to the last race to have the championship. Dude builds his own motors, built his own car, was just retired from the military, National Guard this year. Former, auto mechanic teacher. I mean, you want to talk about car guy and can do it all and drive the thing. I'm going to throw out top performer Tim Hall.
I'm going PDRA. I am going Mr. Placino, a.k.a., as I call him, Pistachio. That family all together, they don't run on the biggest budget that they possibly could, but they figure out and make it work, and they do it as a family crew. I really look up to that. I would actually like to see what what that family could do with, another program. Looking outside of PDRA if they wanted to. Obviously, their roots are set there, but that's where they are content right now.
I'm going to go with the jack of all trades, master of all of them, Lyle Barnett. Whatever this guy jumps in, he could jump into, Fred Flintstone car and win. I mean, this guy from the beer money Mustang to the truck to the top alcohol dragster to even the pro mod. And I know that's technically NHRA, but there's so many other avenues outside. I mean, it's just like you could put this guy in one of those old NFL helmet golf carts and he would win with it. So that's my performer is Lyle Barnett, because he performs wherever he wants to.
And
Bobby, you took the layup.
I'm going to take the pass because I got to be honest. I don't know enough outside NHRA because NHRA consumes my world. I've heard about guys like this, but to speculate, I'm going to defer to the true global drag racing experts, the three of you guys.
Well, Elon, if you don't mind, then, like, what name have you heard the most this year? Let me put it that way. Then
I would say Ryan Martin.
Kelly.
I would say Ryan Martin.
Ryan Martin. Okay.
Kai Kelly.
Ryan Martin.
Just say Kai Kelly. Lizzie Musey, Kai Kelly. You know.
Yeah. And that goes the whole celebrity thing I was talking about.
Yeah.
Right. Ryan Martin. What is it? 3
when a guy that immerses himself so much.
4. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, a guy that immerses himself into everything NHRA, everything from college football series to everything, knows who you are. Yeah, it's a celebrity.
There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, watching along, hit that like button, hit the share button for us, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to take a break. This break will be a review break. And when we come back, we're going to talk the finals at Pomona.
The 2022 NHRA season came to a thrilling conclusion this past weekend in Pomona, California, as the championship drama in both nitro categories certainly lived up to the hype. In Top Fuel, John Force Racing was still the show, as Brittany Forrest locked in a tight points battle for the Top Fuel championship coming in, will leave Pomona with the title, as her closest pursuers Justin Ashley and Mike Salinas will fall in the opening round, handing Brittany her second Top Fuel World Championship. As for the event win, that will go to her teammate Austin Prock, as Prock would outrun Antron Brown in the final round to score his third career national event win. In Funny Car, after a clutch run in the final qualifying session on Saturday night, added with points leader Robert Hyde falling in the second round of eliminations on Sunday, reigning Funny Car champion Ron Capps will come from behind on the final day of the season to score a second Funny Car World Championship in a row and third overall. Cruz Petragon will leave Pomona with the event trophy, putting together one of the greatest weekends of his career and closing out 2022 strong. In Pro Stock Motorcycle, it will be the Mr. and Mrs. Smith show, as Matt Smith would secure his 6th Pro Stock Motorcycle World Championship, tying him with Dave Schultz and Andrew Hines for most in the class, while his wife Angie Smith would leave with the event trophy. And finally, in Pro Stock, Greg Anderson would defeat newly crowned champ and arch rival Erica Enders in the final round on a hole shot, scoring win number 101 and sending off team owner Kim Black in style. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a fast-paced recap of the 2022 Auto Club NHRA Finals from Auto Club Raceway in Pomona, brought to you by Competition Plus. See you all in 2023.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
Wow. Pomona was spectacular.
It was an event that was built. I think a lot of people thought there was going to be all this drama in Top Fuel, and it petered out in the first round. And then the drama came right into Funny Car. And I didn't think anyone thought there would be drama. And I think they thought Robert would have big enough lead and, all this stuff. But just that event, I felt like the crowd was really good. The weather was unbelievable. Just a great way to end a really exciting season, I thought.
Definitely was. I mean,
Go ahead.
I know for me, I was sitting in a hotel room in Wyoming. I was reffing junior hockey, and I look up on my phone and I'm looking at Elon's email Saturday night, and I'm like, okay, so if this happens, this can happen, and then this. So I wrote it down on a piece of paper because I didn't want to be changing my phone too much while I was driving. Posted my phone up and watching it on NHRA.tv, but just a lot of battles where you're like, okay, I'm not even gonna lie. When I read your email, Elon, it's like, okay, if this person goes out first round, or if that person, I'm like, okay, scratch that off because that's not gonna happen, just because of of history of how this person or that person ran. And then you had your team matchups of Antron Brown versus Justin Ashley, and so you're like, okay, how does this plan out? Antron's this far back, but Justin's here. Is it that, do we look at the team battle of, okay, hey man, you're ahead of me, but even though you're ahead, I'm still in the points. So you kind of look at every scenario, and I had a sketch sheet of like, okay, this may happen here, this is going to happen here, and we're going to come down to semifinals to figure it out. But I don't know. All of that lead, I still have that one question is, do we really need 1.5 points in Pomona?
Well, in the case of Funny Car, it would seem so, but
I like the 1.5 for Pomona. I think it does bring an element of drama to it where you can theoretically see a lot of movement on the last race of the season. But I am aware that I understand the argument of all of a sudden games in the NFL, and then in the Super Bowl, touchdowns are worth 12 points. I get where people are coming from on that, but to me, that going in, it creates the drama of 5 people in Top Fuel having a shot at the championship on the last day of the season, 3 people in Funny Car. It can play out, down the road. I think you're going to see, as competitive as these classes are, Pro Stock next year. I mean, I'm not going to say I don't think Erica can have the season she had this year next year because that team's so strong. But I think next year in Pro Stock, you could see a situation where there could be 5 or 6 teams fighting for the championship on Sunday in Pro Stock. Same deal with bikes. So the 1.5 doesn't bother me as bad on the Auto Club final side, or I guess it's going to be in and out finals next year, which is exciting. As how the playoffs kind of got started with, I'm a firm believer. I like the countdown. I like the playoff situation, but I think that if you make it into the top 10 in the regular season, the reward should be you stay in the top 10 by the end of the season. And I think we're beyond the rewarding for participation element of our sport. There's solid sponsors. Sponsors just need to know, hey, my team's going to need to get in the top 10 if they're going to be in playoff contention. You're still going to be able to race. You're still going to be able to have an impact on the championship. I mean, Krista Baldwin had an impact on the championship, not on the countdown. Ron August Jr. had an impact on the championship, not on the countdown. Tasca had a major impact on the championship, not in the top. He was in the top 10, but he was out of championship. So there is value to being a competitor in the countdown, even if you're not in the top 10. And you can promote that without, upsetting the apple cart of top 10.
I think my biggest takeaway from the finals, of course, we knew the battles were going to be humongous. We knew they were going to be epic. They were going to be great. But what that I really grabbed a hold of was Pomona race crowds coming back.
Yep. 100%.
It was the largest crowd that I had ever seen.
Yep.
Now, of course, we got everybody. You got people out here.
You're putting on the tinfoil hat, Bobby. Like you're an NHRA conspiracist now. I mean, come on.
They finally got the microchip in his brain to work, so they've finally taken him over.
Oh, okay. Well, call me takeover, but I know what I saw.
You did. You're right.
I know what I saw.
Right.
I know. It was amazing.
I was at the point on a golf cart. I was ready to wipe out about 10 people just to get down the line there.
Yep. I agree.
And we've had races, and the whole thing that's deceiving. Okay. people will see the photos of the final rounds, and they got empty grandstands off to the side that were not even open. Okay.
Right.
And then you got people say, well, why would you even show that? Well, because the NHRA's not figured a way to control the sun.
Right.
Okay. So we have to shoot where we're not, the subjects aren't backlit. So that's the best avenue right there. So, and I fully expect those grandstands to be open, and with the marketing ability of In and Out and their association with Pomona, I see that as a big coup for the
100%.
NHRA.
100%.
I mean, all they have to do is, like, for every bag, put in a flyer or something, 5% off your 5% off your ticket at Pomona. I mean, it's just like a home run.
Yeah.
But yet we got so-called wannabe journalists. I mean, and to put the media on their places or whatever, I don't even want to. It just irritates me to no avail. And I'm getting into the point where get off my drag strip. I'm getting to that point right now. It's just like, you know what? You're not media. You haven't shown you're going to be media. So if you're going to comment about how a sport is dying, at least come to the freaking drag strip. Okay? Don't sit in your mom's basement getting screenshots of NHRA TV and throw that up and say, wow, the sport's circling the drain, and then get about 7 of your cronies to jump up there and say, oh, yes, it's dying, who haven't even been to a drag race in 3 years. If we don't have good attendance, it's because of you. Never mind.
Bobby, they can't go because they can't get permission from their mom to leave the basement and get a bus pass to get to the race. That's why, Bobby. You got to be nice, okay? It's not his fault he hasn't worked in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Not his fault. You got to remember that.
Gentlemen, what you saw is the conditions at Gainesville, Florida in my mind, and I just threw the horsepower at it. Sorry.
Yeah. Look, Pomona was one of the hardest hit tracks with COVID.
Yeah.
You cannot deny that with what it had to go through to get back to this point. And everyone that I have spoken with that was at the track said we had a good crowd. They've never stated sellout. They've never stated elbow to elbow. But you can have a good crowd and not every seat be filled. And I'm sure we're going to have that other side eventually opened. I don't know the exact reason why it's not open, but I'm sure it's going to happen. It would even be cool. I've said this. Tear them out and redo something, repurpose those grandstands and make some cool interactive thing. I don't know. But the fact is, you still had a good crowd. And I don't know what it is about the modern day fan. I have seen this at many national events so far. Like, you can't take a photo of round one and say, here's the crowd, because not everybody's there.
Right.
And then by the time you get to the finals, people have left, and I don't get it. It's like you got to take a shot at like in round two, halfway from top fuel to funny car to get like the peak crowd essence.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
And that's the thing about our sport is you can watch college football games, you can watch pro football games, and they're not full. Some games are sold out, some games aren't. They're playing games on a Wednesday night, whatever. I mean, to me, if you're watching on TV, why do you care what the grandstands look like? Enjoy what you're seeing on TV. I've never watched a sporting event that I was interested in or even halfway. It's the on-court, on-field, on-track action that I'm there for. If I'm enjoying it and it's a compelling show and the personalities are interested, why do I care what the grandstands look like? How is that impacting my enjoyment? It's not. And if the sport is continuing to grow and add events and add teams and get better TV deals, that's the metric of what we're doing. There's tracks that are coming online that want to be member tracks of the NHRA. That's new sponsors are coming in. That's there's going to be new programs next year to bring more money to the teams. things are going to be announced. So that's all the drama about the grandstands, like to Bobby's point. It's so dependent on where the sun is, what time of day it is, what, our events are long. That's something we can talk about at a later date. That I don't go to any event as a fan that's over 6 hours long. I mean, I can't even go to the fair that long. So that's just something we have to work through. But that's, to me, the excitement level of the NHRA and Sunday night, the sea of humanity that was around the four winners when they're up there getting it, if you stayed until the end of the race and they let you get down on the track, I mean, there were well over 1,000 people, 1,500 people around that stage getting an amazing experience of getting to talk to Greg Anderson and Austin Prock and, all the guys that won. And that's the unique aspect of our sport.
I think this past weekend was a complete win for the NHRA,
Yes.
and in particular, the Pomona drag strip at the Fairplex. With everything that was announced from SEMA and rolling in, and then to have the action that was on track, it foreshadows healthy years to come.
Yes.
And
100%.
what I also loved about In-N-Out coming on board, this wasn't quite connected in the NHRA announcement. I read this from Road and Track. In-N-Out has got more plans for Pomona than just the 2 races.
Yes.
They're actually going to celebrate their 75th year apart from the drag races, but have more drag races and a huge car show. A whole lot of positivity for that track right now.
Yeah, I think we spoke about it last week. I mean, you guys spoke about putting the, $5 ticket into your meal or whatever for Pomona. But you got to look at, like, In-N-Out's always had that classic car feel. I talked about this last week when we announced it. They've always had their T-shirts and everything they're doing. So with that attitude going in, I hope we do see some of those old retro T-shirts, the all kind of like what you're wearing right now, Lee, the all white T-shirt with the, logo or one car on the front and then the hot rod on the back with the palm trees. Going to, Pomona, I think I heard, and this is just something that I heard, is the reason why they don't let fans to the other side is because there's no way for them to get back and forth, really, unless they walk all the way around the backside and with security and everything like that, and people crossing the track. So it was a problem, and with COVID restrictions and everything then is why they didn't do it. But we're worried about something, and you said it, Elin, and everyone said it. We're worried about something that doesn't really play effect to what's going on if you're not there. Like, you can't. I always used to bitch at my little brother's football game. He plays for University of Wisconsin. During COVID, you'd see the little pop-up signs of people's faces that you could pay so it looked like, there's people in the stands. I didn't really care to see those. Like, I was there I tuned in to watch the game, and I can't be mad if I'm sitting at home. Here it is again. I'm going to have my Bobby moment. I'm sitting at home watching this stuff live. Like, I can pay money and go and support it and spend my money at the Nitro Mall and spend money going down the track and everything like that. Or I can sit at home in the comfort of my own home in my pajamas and watch it live and not have to wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks to find out who won or to find out who won each round. Like, I get upset when NHRA.com doesn't upload the ladder soon enough, right? I mean, and you guys used to have to wait weeks to figure out who won. So that, like, weeks, months, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. I mean, we're finding out right then and there that, hey, this is, KB's last race. They're leaving NHRA. There's going to be new owners. There's people taking over. I mean, we're finding out who won, who's got low ET, who's staged deep, who did this, who did that. Drag racing is not dying. These classes are getting better, faster. I mean, Cruz is setting better ETs and fastest of the year. We got rookies of the year that are going to be leading classes here soon. I mean, I don't know. I'm excited. But Lee, I have to ask you this question. Do you still stand by your statement of who is the best class in NHRA this year?
Overall, yes.
All right.
I didn't hear what his guess was, or his predict. What was your?
I have said all year long that the top class has been Top Fuel this year. I really think it stole the show for most of the year. And we had a bit of a dud in the championship chase, but I would argue we saw upsets that were fan favorites of the day. Ron August, Krista Baldwin in that throwback scheme with her dad. Man, I was like, man, you go, girl. That was so cool to see. I mean, it was so cool. And you see her excitement, and she's, at the home track and everything. I can't imagine the emotion she was going through to pick up that round win in that moment. And, you've got the your heart sink in your chest moment with Leah and the explosion and the massive it was at 300, foot mark or whatever. I still think Top Fuel had a spectacular show. Championship wise, look, I wanted final round, Imano, winner take all. Who doesn't want that?
Right.
We didn't get it though, but we did get a deserving champion, Brittany Force, and props to her. Nothing should be taken away from her. No. Last year, people were very critical, and rightfully so, of her driving. Whatever she did, she fixed it enough to go out and win a Camping World Series NHRA Top Fuel Championship.
And I think you look at and I talked to a bunch of media people during the countdown of the combination of cars that can run incredibly low ETs with drivers that can cut incredibly quick reaction times. Justin Ashley, Sean Langdon, Brittany coming around, Tony Schumacher. I mean, you have drivers that are consistently cutting 30 and 40 lights in Top Fuel dragsters and then backing that up with 368s. That's a tough nut to crack if you're in the other lane. And you're seeing that from a handful of people, and I think you're going to see even more of it next year because there's guys in talking with Josh Hart at the banquet. I mean, his loss in the semis, that's going to stick with him for months. And it's only going to motivate him. He's not going to get discouraged by it. He's going to get better. And he's going to realize that, hey, this is, and there's other guys that are out there. You look at the combination now of Mike Neff going over with Tony Schumacher. I don't think Tony Schumacher's done winning world championships in Top Fuel. So you're going to see more Top Fuel teams becoming better. Clay Milliken, Langdon, Coletta. If you don't think, the Coletta guys had an off year this year, I think they'd all agree with that, but they're going to have all this information next year going into it next year. I would bet my life savings that Doug Coletta and Sean Langdon do not go winless in 2023. I mean, that's just the, but it's going to be, I don't think you're going to see if you see a dominant performance like Brittany had this year in Top Fuel next year, that's going to be something to see. I think you're going to see drivers, 6 to 8 drivers winning races next year in Top Fuel.
I have to agree with Elon. I think the bar was raised so high that it's only going to be higher next year. With Justin Ashley, there's going to be the fire in the belly. I believe that Steve Torrance is not done winning world championships.
Mike Salinas.
I mean, you can go on and on and on, and it's almost like that year, 1980, which I realized, Elam was in elementary school and you guys weren't taught of yet, but there was a time that as many as 6 Top Fuel cars came into then Ontario Motor Speedway. I think I stayed at like turn number 3 the other night, when I was in Ontario. But anyway, that's beside the point. But we're going to see more and more of those as the drivers come in. And I think Funny Car is going to be nasty and hateful next year. Pro Stock as well. It's going to be interesting to see how the new chapter of KB Racing comes out next year. And I think the bikes are going to be they're going to be brutal too. But Matt Smith is he's certified badass. Yeah, there ain't no way you can say anything about it. That guy could jump on a moped and go out there and win. That's he's proven that.
And I think in the motorcycle category, you're going to see Joey Gladstone step up. You're going to see the Scrappers team stepping up. You know, Eddie and Angel, they're not slouches. They're going to get their program. And then it's exciting to see guys like Ryan, Flying Ryan and Chris Bostic, that at any moment those guys can get their program. And Steve Johnson, he's been there right there for so long. I think there's a lot of teams that are right on the edge of making the jump that Matt Smith made 4 years ago, that they've been dedicating their time to it, that they're going to get their program to that next level. And it's going to be wild.
I think that if you're a drag racing fan and you're not already excited for 2023, you just better take your ass over to badminton or something, because this ain't the sport for you.
Yeah, I think starting the season in March, there's going to be more talk about the sport getting ready. I think it gives us opportunities to promote the sport in other avenues, to get eyeballs on it and really put that focus to the Gator Nationals and have that truly become a Daytona 500 type event, where, not to take anything away from the Winter Nationals, but California is just such a tough market. You're going up against the Daytona 500, you're going up against the Super Bowl, all these other major sporting events, but that starting our sport that weekend in March, you'll still have like college basketball, but it will be a great opportunity for us to capture so many motorsports eyeballs with so many compelling stories. It'll be exciting.
Well, gentlemen, we need to move on, Sam. We've got some people to plug, and we've got a whole new program for the show. What do you got, really quickly?
I just want to ask one last thing about the whole Pomona thing. And it's from DRC, and he brings up a great question, I guess, for drag racing. With Auto Club leaving, what does that mean for Robert Hight? Does that mean that they're pulling away sponsorship completely, or is it that the deal between Pomona and the track, maybe that deal's up? And is there any insight there?
I can say I've heard that Robert Hight's deal is still going on for multi-years with Auto Club. It's two totally separate. They're incredibly happy with what Robert Hight brings for their program, and that's a totally separate deal than the NHRA deal. So I think Robert will, it's one of those deals that's a legacy deal now, that I think as long as Robert wants to continue to race and represent Auto Club, they're going to be excited to have him doing that. So.
Right. And Auto Club is not done with motorsports sponsorship. They've already showed the livery for Joey Logano in 2023, when they will be on his car. They might be done with the naming rights aspect at a few places, but they're definitely not done with being on cars. One company that does love being on cars and does love drag racing is Peak and all of their brands. And we are glad to have Peak on board with the Competition Plus Power Hour, competitionplus.com. We're going to take a break, word from Peak, and when we come back, Peak Performer from Pomona. The panel will discuss it.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it Peak. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze, and coolant, our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.
Well, we lost Elon somehow. Maybe we'll check back in. Peak top performer from Pomona in the finals. I think there is no one else that you can pick but Ron Capps.
That would be a negative, Ghost Rider. The pattern is full. The Cruiser.
Yes, that is a good pick.
The Cruiser.
Do not get me wrong.
I mean, that one absolutely stepped
Houston,
up.
we have problems.
Yeah.
This is not the Astros. Houston, we have problems, and I can smell it right now. It smells like someone's downstairs cooking something up. Oh, that's the Chef Boy RD, and that is Austin Prock. The chef is cooking something up.
No, I like this. I like it. We got Austin.
You cannot say no.
There's obviously reasons there. Ron could be picked. I like Bobby's pick. I mean, man, obviously the performance all weekend from qualifying into race day, wins the race. I like it. I like it.
I mean, look how many times Cruz came out there and never made it past the first or second round. And then he goes to number one qualifier. And then the Lee Beard effect in there, Lee Beard and JC together. I mean, you've got, from the way Cruz describes it, an absolutely selfless union there with all of those players and with Lee Beard. I'm telling you, that's your performer. That's your performer. Cruiser, forget it. Caps, yeah, Caps did it, but Caps didn't seal the deal. No offense to Caps. He won the war, just didn't win the battle.
Hey, he did steal number one qualifier from Cruz, though.
Yeah, well, that's okay. While everybody else was struggling, Cruz was cruising.
Hey, there's another person we could throw in here and look, maybe honorable mention Taylor Vetter. Wow. I mean, she went peak to get that win.
That was a, hey, y'all, watch this peak performance award. You know, like they always say that the last thing a redneck says before he dies is, hey, y'all, watch this. That was crazy, man. Crazy, I tell you.
You guys are, I mean,
Elon said that
Yep,
it has got
he's
to
in
drop
attack.
off. So we lost the legendary PR representative in the world of motorsports, and particularly drag racing. Thank you for your time, Elon. We'll continue on here. Any other thoughts from Pomona? Like, for example, you talked about Matt Smith earlier, Bobby. Matt, congratulations on your championship, but you've got a theme going. We need you to ditch it in the sand every year now. You got to keep it going. Keep it going.
I'm telling you. If you think it's that hard to stop a bike, how hard do you think it is to stop a fuel car?
Man.
And these people want to go quarter mile with that? I don't think so.
Definitely not Pomona. You can't.
I don't think so.
No.
I remember doggone Dale Worsham doing the Dipsy Doodle cartwheel down there at the end that one year. We're lucky to still have him. So, you know what? 1320. It's like that girlfriend that you love that kissed you better than anybody else, but she left you standing there. She ain't coming back. Ain't coming back.
No, you guys still be
She ain't
friends
coming
though,
back.
right? Look, this is why I have to go with Austin Prock this weekend. I mean, you mentioned it, Bobby, blowing up first round, having not good luck. I mean, we talked about it. Honorable mention, being brought into the countdown and everything like that, and then gets 2 wins during our playoff season. I mean, having someone like Tobler, be behind him and pushing him along the way. We all looked at it and said, man, what's going on there earlier in the year? And then we saw step up performances. When you looked at this weekend, you didn't say Austin Prock was going to be someone that you would count to, have a win here this weekend. But if there's a will, there's a way. And I think that team has fought, adversity on the other side of them. They have, a teammate who is the champion of this year. So you've seen all this success out of their teammate's car, but out of theirs, you weren't seeing the performance that you thought you would have seen, with under that JFR umbrella. You saw it from Robert. You saw it from John. We saw it from Brittany, but did we necessarily see this from Austin? No. And it's just exciting for a young guy like himself getting back in the chance to drive. So for me, I mean, to peak at that time, no pun intended, to peak and be our peak performer.
Sure.
I think he was, yeah. I think he was, cooking something up, and to, the monster team and everything like that. Cheers.
Oh, we drinking now?
Yeah,
I don't know what I got in this jug.
Everybody else is drinking water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now that racing season is over, Bobby, you guys gotta put me in rehab. I don't know what I'm gonna do, with myself not watching that.
I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna go to PRI, and Thursday night's gonna roll around. You're gonna be in trouble. That's what's gonna happen.
No, actually, yes. I'm not gonna be in trouble.
Liquor, can he?
No. See, no, Bobby, that's not the thing. I can. It's my partner over here. Hey, Lee, I'm going to tell you this now.
People do with liquor. Them Amish people don't hold their liquor good either.
Lee, I'm telling you this now so you don't forget. If it happens again, I'm staying right down the road. You don't have to go anywhere. I have 2 beds. You can stay with me, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Remember, lock that in the back. Me and Lamont, my mustache.
Yep.
So we're going to do the insider this week?
We can. Let's not. We're not done with Pomona though. Let's.
Okay.
We're not done with Pomona.
All right.
I love it. There was 2 matchups. There was a lot of great matchups, obviously with Pomona, but I love 2 matchups that we got within the race. I always get excited for Cruz Petragon versus John Force, and I always get excited for Greg Anderson versus Erica Enders. And Cruz, great performance, obviously goes on to win. John Force, what did y'all think about that kablooey? Not even half track. Early on, it looked like it was out of nowhere that thing grenaded.
There's easier ways to get publicity, but John will get publicity any way he can. Let me hit my Benny the Bomb button. Kaboom! Y'all ain't even know who Benny the Bomb was.
No, that is one where you see those pictures and you definitely can hear the voice in the back of your head and goes, and John goes kablooey. And Alan Reinhart, that's in my, the Alan Reinhart voice. You can definitely hear him saying that. But that's what we call, and I'm going to say this 2 weekends in a row, it is the Bourbon Bowl. And you can't hold nothing back. Just like the announcer said in the Water Boy, the Bourbon Bowl. You can't hold anything back. And that's what we call, remember the time that Bobby Boucher came in halftime? And the Mud Dogs won the Bourbon Bowl? That's what John was trying to do there. Okay?
Bobby Boucher.
Well, Pomona was certainly an epic event for the final race of the 2022 World Camping. Oh my goodness, Camping World NHRA season. I finally got it together. I didn't even watch the World Series hardly this year, and I can't get it over. Camping World. Bobby, you said insider. What do you got?
And the latest news in Factory X.
Oh gosh.
Looks like we got 17 orders for Factory X cars. Looks like we could have as many as 8 cars ready to go by mid-season. Looks like the predominantly built car will be the Copo Camaros, but there are a good number of Fords and Dodge Challengers being built. This comes from a very reliable source inside the program there. Which would be Mr. Lonnie Grimm. So they're excited about it. I'm starting to get excited about it. And one of the biggest things you're going to get excited about will be a past world champion coming back with an iconic name on the side of the car. You'll just have to stay tuned to Competition Plus this week, and that will become available. Now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
In Factory X, you said that
Factory X.
Okay, in Factory X.
Factory X. And I will give you a hint. It will be a Mopar. So,
ooh, I have a sneaky suspicion with that one.
We mentioned on the FTI Performance Rumor Mill on Competition Plus about a funny car joining a Top Fuel team. And while nothing's set in stone and it's not confirmed, could we see Tim Wilkerson teaming up with the Sarge, Tony Schumacher? That's a big question. And one last nugget here. KB Racing owner Ken Black announced his retirement. There is, from what we understand, a buyer, but it's not done yet. It's not a done deal yet. And I learned a long time in this business, until you got the contract signed or the money in the bank, it ain't done. But Chapter 3 for Greg Anderson will be with a different kind of KB than he's raced for a couple of decades now.
Yeah, there's been a lot of rumors about, or not rumors, or like you said, the contract isn't signed yet, but I think there's a lot of talk about who the potential owners there are. Bobby, I know I mentioned this to you earlier today when we kind of chit-chatted. There was a picture that was posted yesterday at the banquet. You and I talked about this one earlier, of maybe a driver potentially going to a different class or stepping into, a different car. Is it, can you take anything? Like I said, you know who I'm talking about. Can you take anything from that? Can we potentially maybe see something talked about that? Or do you think that's just funny season, off season talk?
There's a lot going on. I'm telling you, it's been swirling like crazy. I think we're probably going to need to see, probably in the next week or so, some things materialize. I believe we'll see something materialize with the KB Racing by the end of the week. That's my guess. I'm not exactly sure which one you're talking about, Sam. Can you give me a hint? Because I didn't see the banquet.
Curtis. Good friends of ours.
Good friends of ours. Okay. Well, we do have some friends. Okay.
Trying to give you like hope. I'm over. Look, Lee. I'm over here trying to give them bad signals.
Give it a little bit of time to materialize.
I
ready to come out of the oven yet.
I fully expect that we are heading into just as wild, if not a wilder, off-season / silly season than what we had from 2021 to 2022. It's going to be wild.
I agree.
Oh, silly season started as soon as the last pass was made down the track in Pomona. Pull out, Toyota should be running that commercial and it should just say, silly season has begun.
Silly season started when we put that rumor up about the tuner going from funny car to Top Fuel, which we found out. Well, we already know. I'll give you a hint, guys. When I do the FTI rumor mill, the more vague I am, the more I know. And the more I can't say. If you see something that beats around every bush in the neighborhood, then you say, God, Bobby knows everything. He just can't spill it. He's getting real creative.
With this show, looking back on the 2022 season, when you take the NHRA Camping World season as a whole, what was the biggest standout moment in the season, no matter what category, what stood out the most with the professional categories over the 2022 season? What's at the top?
What's at the top? For me, it had to be Erica Anders. I mean, she absolutely did the stuff that legends are made of with her this year. And I think that this was the season that she truly was considered in a legendary status. I believe that with all my heart. Look, you can be young and still be a legend.
Oh yeah.
There are some of us who have been out here, and I'm not saying I'm a legend by any kind. Maybe a legend in my own mind, but the thing is that I've been in the sport for 42 years. 42 years I've been doing this every year in some form or fashion. I published my first magazine when I was 12. Well, guess what? Erica started even younger than I did driving a race car. And her, Tony Schumacher, they should be considered. I think Larry Dixon Jr. should be in the Hall of Fame right now. Why do we have to wait till he gets old and feeble to put him in there? He deserves it now.
Yeah, I agree.
Hall of Famer.
Halls should put people in sooner. And hey, props to the International Motorsports Hall of Fame. They did put him in earlier, and we don't have to wait. But yeah, I mean, come on, down there at Ocala, they could go ahead. Yeah.
I think that's something that we do across the board in every sport. We wait, like you said, till someone is older, someone is, on their, it's to that point. And I made this analogy to one of my high school coaches that is now getting recognized for things that we did back in 2009. And I'm like, why do we wait, even as communities, as people, we wait till someone is sick, or we wait till, they're out of the sport? Why can't we acknowledge those people now for what they're doing and what they're still doing, instead of waiting until they're sick or, till they're gone on to acknowledge what they have been to our sport and what they mean to our sport? I think it carries more to let that person enjoy what they mean to the sport and still be involved, instead of looking from the outside in. I think I think what, for me, to answer your question, Lee, is this year I'm gonna, of course I would say Erica there, but I'm actually gonna honestly say Matt Smith this year, because he didn't just do it, one way. He said, okay, you guys are gonna throw the kitchen sink at me and say, I can't do this or I can't do that. I'm gonna get on my other bike that I don't have the data on, and I'm gonna run this style this way and still, put it in the winner's circle, and not having the data and changing it back and forth. Going against the grain, I mean, is always hard and difficult, but in the style he did it, Matt deserves it.
Guys, if I fall off the screen, it's because I can't get my computer plugged up here. I've been trying. I'm not about to fall out of the seat, I promise you. And I'm not going to tell you what's in the jug I've been drinking here, but I'm just going to.
Well, we could tell it's not clear, so we all know, Bobby. It's all right.
So the moment at the top for me when I look back at the 2022 season is Ron Capps finally getting Indy. I think that's one that people will look back at 2022 and they're going to say, yeah, Ron got it that year. He'd been trying for so long. It's just like when you think back to 1998, one of the top moments in NASCAR, people are going to say, oh, yeah, Dale finally got the 500. So I think that Ron, and doing it as driver, as car owner, I think that was a huge moment for 2022.
Lee, I think you made an excellent point. But I think they're on like the, I don't know what we used to do on index cards, A, B, C, D, diagramming or whatever. I think you got two other things for Capps that might also support what you're saying in there. Number one, he gained his first wins in a first season as a team owner. And number two, I think one of the things that we may all kind of overlook as not that big a deal, but he switched manufacturers.
Yes. Which was huge. And I think we lost Bobby. It's gone, I believe. Oh
no, he's back. Oh no, it's fast forwarding. Who knows?
Yep, he's back. He's back.
I'm back. I'm like Eminem. I'm back.
You entered a parallel universe, but you're back with us now.
I swear to gosh, I'm not drinking out of that jug again.
Bobby's having his award show drinks tonight instead of last night, so we all understand, Bobby. But see, I think that's cool though. I do want to talk about that.
Time out. I think another thing that we need to note is the absolute presentation of the sport of drag racing that Monday Morning Racer Lee and Slammin' Sam have done this year.
Well, I appreciate that. We've tried to do a good job right here on this very platform. There's been a few bumps here and there. And look, Darren has been a part of it as well. This year.
Yeah.
He's done a great job. He's been able to provide those video recaps, which have been really cool to have. And to all the guests that have been on in 2022 so far, and even for the few weeks that we've got remaining, thank you. But Bobby, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a privilege and an honor, and glad that we can come here and talk drag racing.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
It's been a blast, and I think that we have done an excellent show tonight without having a guest. I think we've presented our own best guest,
Right.
100%.
I love having guests, but there are times when it's good just to have a talk, not with guest orientation involved, of just about what we've done here and talk about drag racing. There's so much to talk about.
Yeah,
100%.
I agree.
I like the aspect of the fact that you mentioned it, Bobby, that Ron Capps got his first win this year as a team owner. He, took Indy as a team owner, and he comes out and is a champion as a team owner. Like that, and your rookie year as a team owner, you can't complain about that. But you also have to tip your hat to Antron Brown also going out as a first-time team owner. Getting his first win, getting Indy, getting multiple wins this year, and then end up second in points when, last week we were talking, he was in fourth or fifth last week when we looked at it, and ended in second, in points. A lot of people were like, come on, man, what's going on, AB? Where are you guys at? And I think that team finished very strong. You're looking at Leah Pruitt, Leah Pruitt Stewart, or however you want to say it, ending 11th this year as a new team. I mean, there's so many different things within every class that we can look at and just, you can pretty much have a show on just those topics because of the excitement that happened just within this race season. That honestly, when you look at it, you look at our COVID years, you look at what's happened in the last few years, this was the year where NHRA finally was like, okay, we've gotten past this COVID restrictions and these stipulations. We can have our fans back. We can put on our show. We brought back, the Low Zone with Brian Loans and playing music. We brought back these different elements of what NHRA was trying to do pre-COVID. And now we're staring into the future of what are we going to see next? What is going to happen? Who's going to change?
Guys, how did we miss the most obvious thing, the three of us? or the four of us when Elam was there. How did we miss this one absolute nugget? The emergence of the single car teams in championship contention. How did we miss that?
I just brought it up.
I mean, Ron, AB, Justin Ashley,
Mike Salinas,
Mike Salinas, Josh Hart.
Did we ever think the single car teams would ever contend ever again in the days of the Force and the Schumacher and Coletta? Did we ever think that would happen? I did.
You're right. That was what was said. Also, what was said is this is what drag racing will be for the future. Look, racing changes. It is continually in ebb and flow, no matter what motorsport we're talking about. We're seeing now again a rise of an independent team able to go out there and compete and challenge, and that is a good thing for the sport, I believe. All right.
Go ahead, Lee.
We're going to take a break. Right after the break, we're going to talk about what we're looking forward to in 2023. Well, what can help us look forward into the future? Well, your headlights and retro lights for your old ride. The best place to get them, Holley.
Classic car owners, make your headlights over twice as bright with Holley Retro Bright LED headlights. A plug-in replacement for those dim halogen seal beams, Retro Bright maintains that classic look and lasts 6 times longer. Stay safe and click the link below to learn more.
I'll kick it off as of right now, 2023. What I am looking forward to the most, Funny Car Chaos is going to the East Coast at Maryland International Raceway. I cannot wait for that. First time ever.
You want to say it? Oh, me?
Go ahead, Bobby. Yep.
I'm looking forward to Top Fuel, the continuation, the saga of the greatest championship battle continued on.
Well, mine is not racing related, 2023, so I'm probably going to throw you guys off. The first thing I'm looking forward to, and this is a little side note, is seeing Lee down at PRI wearing the chicken costume. Lee, have you ordered the chicken costume yet?
I have not ordered it, but I will. I am going to order this thing.
Yes. Bobby, I don't know if you saw the rest of the show last week. Lee did commit to saying he would wear a chicken costume on the chick magnet there. That's going to be at PRI, so we definitely need to do this.
And I'm going to take a ride down the track, too. That's both things. It's not just one. It's both.
Yeah.
Oh, hell.
The second
I
thing,
guess I got to wear my big bad wolf suit.
I'll record both of you guys. I'm not wearing a suit. I'm sorry. I'm not wearing a costume. I mean, me and Lamont are going to be just fine for the month. So this will be my costume. So yes, name my mustache Lamont this year instead of Pedro from last year. So other than that, I'm looking forward to there's a rumor mill that Bobby may know what I'm talking about of potentially seeing 2 guys live from PRI. So rumor mill, kind of potentially looking forward to that. And the one that I'm kind of excited about right now, it's the return of the WSPM, the World Series of Pro Mod. I'm excited for that. I mean, I think races like that, that kick off the year, that start things, it just brings a different aura to drag racing, and see the different people from the different categories and classes that are all being mixed up, that are all pro mod drivers or should be pro mod drivers. If you know me, you know how much I love Door Slammer racing. So I'm excited about that for the 2023 race season outside of NHRA. But inside of NHRA, Lee, I'm going to call it early. And I'm going to say this year's 2023 is going to be a funny car year. I think we're going to see some different names pop up. I think we're going to go back and forth. I thought this year, was the pro stock and pro mod year. I think coming forward, we are going to see some names in funny car kind of step up and say, you know what, we want to take over this class. So those are my 4 we're looking forward to.
All right, great. Well, as you all can see, we lost Bobby Bennett. The computer gave up the ghost. Thank you, Bobby, for your time. Elon Warner, thank you for your time. Sam, always good to have you on the show. I'm Lee Kraft, the Monday Morning Racer. This has been the Competition Plus Power Hour. Anything else, Sam?
God bless. Great year. We made it to the end of the season safely. Safety Safari. You guys have done a phenomenal job this year getting us off the track. Bobby and his segments on get us on and off the track of whatever he's mad about. To Brian Loans and to Alan Reinhart, thank you for announcing all year. But the flashing red lights are finally here upon us for the last show of the race season. That doesn't mean we're not going to be on the air, but thank you to all you guys out there, to the guys and girls that hit the thumbs up button, that like, share, comment, subscribe. We appreciate you guys more than what you know. If you see us, give us a high five, say hey, say how's it going. But we appreciate you guys. We hope to see you guys soon. If you're at PRI, you'll see the beautiful face and the ugly guy with the shades right over there.
In a chicken suit.
Oh, in the chicken. If you see the chicken suit, it's him. But yes, please stop by, say hi, say how's it going. Bobby Bennett and the whole Competition Plus crew, Darren Williams for stepping in for myself many times this season. We cannot thank you guys enough. But till next week, Lee, you keep the pedal to the metal. God bless, and stay in your own lane, because if you cross the center line, you're going to lose some more points.
Okay.